Welcome Baltimore, episode 10. Episode 10, glad to have you in. I'm your host, Harry Gray. Glad to have both of you guys here today, man. This is a very special week for each and every one of us, man. Football time. First day of summer football practice. It's bittersweet because once football practice comes, then we know school is right around the corner.
We have some special guests on tonight, actually. A couple guys that I kind of look up to in the coaching game, and pretty good stuff that I learned from them guys. So it's a special show tonight.
Yeah, so the day was your first day, man. How's practice, man? How was everything over pretty much on the Clipper ship?
Well, Clipper ship sailing, man. They look pretty good. You know, Coach Larry is pretty tight, structured. Practice went pretty smooth based on the game plan, and it's nice so far. You know, them kids that haven't been practicing, though, it's a little tough on them, but for the most part, it's pretty good.
Yep. Well, again, this is our second show as far as the high school preview for Baltimore City. I'm glad that all the coaches are kind of buying in. They give their kids an opportunity to see themselves on TV. Also, just bringing light to what all these gentlemen are doing for Baltimore City, for our youth, for their school. So we definitely want to give a shout out to each and every coach that's coming on. So, you know, tonight, you know, as far as coaches, we have Coach James Monroe from Lake Clifton High School. Mm-hmm. We also have first year coach Herbert Parham from Digital Harbor. I'm kind of excited to hear from those guys because they're going to bring something fresh to the table. So, you know, again, Baltimore City, we're trying to change things. We're doing things in a positive way. We're going to reflect a little bit. We are going to talk about later in the show mental health, that I think is really one of the key issues among all our issues in Baltimore City right now. So I want to dive into that a little bit. How excited are you about football, man?
Big time, man. You know, I'm a big time Michigan Wolverine fan, and I think it was like 18 days yesterday, so 17 days to our first game with Middle Tennessee. I'm kind of excited about that. I coach Lower League 11U for the Edgewood Rams, and I'm the O-line coach at Patterson High School, so I'm really excited about the season. I got a lot of work ahead of me, but I'm excited.
That's it. So again, you want to chime in, whether it's anything dealing with the crisis in Baltimore City, talking about our youth, talking about the politicians, the police. You even want to talk football with us. The number is 410-417-7067. Also, if you are a business owner or entrepreneur in Baltimore, whether it's Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Howard County, all over, and if you want to kind of highlight your business on our show, please give us a call. Again, that's 410-417-7067. You can also email me. That's Harry Gray, Gray, 36 at hotmail.com. And we'd be pleased to have you guys on the show, along with sponsoring whatever we're trying to do positive for not just Baltimore City, but Baltimore, Maryland in general.
Absolutely.
All right. So now our current sponsors that we have Moe's Seafood here on Pulaski Highway. Some of the best seafood that you can buy in Baltimore. We have Brainstream Media. We also had Tone Drone LLC. These guys are making us look great, said each and every week.
Absolutely.
Yep. So we tend not to give the guys accolades behind the scenes, but I definitely want to give these guys accolades, because without them, we could not do what we do here in Baltimore. The stuff shellfish, rockfish, they say is outstanding. I know our producers, our camera guys, every week is wings, is shrimp. They even got the Moe's Trio, which is definitely outstanding. I get that, pretty much every other week. So, hey man, this is again Changing Baltimore. We are trying to change the culture of Baltimore. We're trying to change the way we thinking in Baltimore. So again, we'll be back with our first segment, which Coach Monroe from Lake Clifton.
Coach Money.
So we'll be back shortly.
Let's roll. Welcome back, Baltimore. Welcome back. First segment, episode 11, Changing Baltimore. I want to bring to the segment tonight, man, somebody that has been around Baltimore City football for over 35 years. And I think that's amazing, dealing with kids that long and have that much patience in Baltimore City. So everybody, I want to introduce to you the head coach of Lake Clifton High School, Mr. James Monroe.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing this lovely day? I thank you for inviting me to be here. It's a great pleasure and honor to be part of this. And when we said changing Baltimore, we are changing Baltimore. As coaches in Baltimore City, we are not just coaches, we are mentors, we are fathers, we are uncles, we are grandfathers. So we are changing the culture of our black kids in Baltimore City and making them and turning their lives around and making them positive. So I thank you for having this broadcast. I thank Mose for giving you the opportunity to have this broadcast. And I thank you for inviting the Baltimore City coaches to speak their mind and let everybody know what's going on and what we are doing as coaches in Baltimore City.
Amen.
Yeah, I think we're doing, again, a great thing. Again, to be in it for 35 years, I know it's been a lot of changes in Baltimore as far as leadership, our kids. Tell me how you've been able to stay strong at one school and be successful.
The whole thing is getting into the kids. I'm just not their coach. I'm a father figure because I want somebody to treat my kids. When my kids play football, whoever that coach was, I want them to be a father figure to them. I want them to come to them not with only problems with football field, but problems in life. Because the fact that if we don't get into our kids' mind and try to change them, especially our inner city kids that have not been exposed to a lot of things, when we get into their mind and expose them to a lot of things, it opens up their eyes and make them want to look forward. My reward is when a kid come at me and said, Coach, it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be here today. That's my success story right there. So 35 years of doing this is not hard because the fact that when I see kids come past or I'm out somewhere and they say, Coach, let me treat you because it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be here. That's a reward for me. So it's not hard doing it. I think I might have 1 or 2 more years left. Because the bones are getting rough and it's hard getting up in the morning and being riding that sled and fussing. But as long as kids need mentors, as long as our inner city kids need someone to look up to, as long as our kids need someone to make sure they're on the right track, I will be here somewhere around.
Well, I can't imagine 2 years and it's over with you, Coach Money, because you've been around for a long time. That will be equivalent to, well, for me, like when Coach Wren retired, it tore me up, and if you ever leave, it would definitely tear me up. I remember watching you coach, and I've been coaching 28 years, almost 30 years, and I remember watching you coach, being a young coach, and I always wanted to, get your number and talk to you. So now I talk to you about maybe twice a week. I talk to you probably like twice a week now. So I always look at it as if it was an honor. And I feel like, when it comes to Baltimore City football, you are the matriarch of Baltimore City football, without a doubt. You got the longest tenure when it comes to coaching in Baltimore City. And I consider you as a mentor, and I'm going to publicly say that I love you to death, man.
I love you too, man. I love everybody, man, because we got to be able to show love to our young people and let them know what love is all about. It's nothing, a man in ego saying to a kid, I love you. My kids, and it was strange for me actually hearing this one time. I was dropping my kids off, and each one of my kids said to another kid, I love you. Now, you don't get too many kids tell their parents they love you, but they were telling each other, I love you, and be safe. So that shows that we are doing something with our kids when our kids can tell another young black man, I love you, and be safe. So that's just something that we spreading around. And we did an all-star game together.
That's right.
We did an all-star game together.
Sure did.
And they made the mistake to tell me to run my power out right. Baltimore County would never say him again.
We beat them. But look, they was down, 10 games prior to that they lost to them?
And they haven't won a game since then.
Yeah.
So, Lake Clifton, the building that everybody knows, building that Baltimore City probably has grown up to adapt to, now is moving pretty much across the street. So far, how is that moving? Because from what I see driving by, the building looks great.
But the building looked great. I'm going to be real truthful with you. They did not account for athletics when they did it. Because we have to play our home game at our school. Okay? I don't mind that because I feel comfortable there. Next year, we have to play our home games again at our school, but we won't be able to use the building. They're going to put us in portables. and that's kind of hard. So then they said they were gonna give us a field down across from the pool, the little park field.
Right.
So I'm saying it's kind of dangerous. Kids got to come all the way around. There's no parking there, so it's gonna be a transition that we're gonna have to adapt to, and our kids gonna have to come from the new school to come over to the old school to practice every day. And so that's something that we had to adapt to, but we're not used to anything of that nature. But as men, you pull your pants up, you tighten your belt, and you keep it rocking and rolling. So whatever we had to do, we gonna do. It's a new adjustment for us. Make sure the kids get over there on time and get out on time. It's something new. But as you know, when you grow up to be a man, it's different things you got to adapt to be successful.
Absolutely.
So you go ahead and adapt to it, and you make it work, so you can make sure your family eat.
Absolutely.
So that's what we do. We make sure our kids learn how to adapt, so when they get older, they can eat.
All right, so let's get into it. For the last 3 years, 2016, the Lakers were 2-7. Then they set back 2017 was 7-2. Last year in the regular season was 9-1. Lost in the first round of the state playoffs to Reginald F. Lewis. So what was the difference between 2016 and 2017 as far as the turnaround?
2016 was my babies. They was 9th and 10th graders. So they were my babies. So I let everybody beat up on my babies. But as I say, my babies turned into young men, right? And they went 7-2. So now my babies got a little older, went 9-1. Now my babies are grown men. And I got Michael Gray, one of the highest recruiting kids in the state of Maryland. UConn, Maryland, everybody's after this kid because he's just an outstanding athlete. When he was a 10th grade, everybody thought he was a senior. But now he's a senior. Then I got a couple transfers in that y'all see during the regular season. I got a couple transferred in. So my babies now are seniors. I have an offensive line 250 and up. So we gonna do some rolling and rocking, and we just gonna make things happen. But first thing you need is that bond. I lost my major captain last year. He was a senior. So I had to build another captain up. So we got this bond, and we unite like a family. I'm taking all of them to the Redskin game, preseason game. We're going to load up our cars, load up our vans. I'm taking the team down there because it's a team building process.
Absolutely.
We're going to be together for that practice that day. After that practice, go in there and shower up, put some clothes on, stop, get something to eat. We take them to the Redskin game, right? Let them wear their jerseys. Team building. Because what happened when you build a team, you build a family. And when you build a family, won't nobody break that family. Because the day at the meeting, I said, right now, that's your brother, that's your brother, that's your brother. And nobody gonna come in our house, or nobody gonna break that bond. If he need work in classroom, and you know the work, help him out. Something happened, help him out. Because now, y'all gonna be one large family. And once you get that family setting in there with them kids, and they start to love one another, it's gonna be hard.
So besides Michael Gray, I've seen some of the linemen that you guys have. Who's some other guys that Baltimore City and the state of Maryland have to watch out for?
I got Barney, 375 offensive defensive tackle. Look at shit with he was shaking his head. I have a quarterback that transferred in. We try to keep him a little secret for the time being, but I think everybody in Baltimore City know about him because everybody was trying to get him. And we had about 5 or 6 other offensive linemen. Carlos Harris, and got a lot of offensive linemen that been around.
Well, speaking of offensive linemen, I think Coach D, and shout out to Coach D, I think Coach D does a great job with the offensive line. I know we stay in constant contact about different philosophies when it comes to blocking different fronts and everything like that, and clinic talk with Coach D. So shout out to Coach D. I think Coach D does a great job.
Yeah, Coach D. I mean, all my coaches are family. Like three of my coaches actually played for me, so they know exactly what I want.
Absolutely.
And Coach Izell Gales, my offensive coordinator. I know sometimes he get on my nerve, but I love his kid. He opens our offenses up. So this year he said, Oklahoma offense we running. So we've been studying all summer long, all winter long.
Shout out to Lincoln Riley.
And we got the material to run the Oklahoma offense.
Yeah.
So shout out to Izell Gales,
And shout out to Isaiah,
Gregory Barnes, Coach D, Stephen Hill, all of them. Cause Stephen Hill and Isaiah and Greg, all of them played for me. So my coaching staff is an extension of me because they know what I want because they played for me.
Absolutely.
So it seems like you're very, very excited about this year. And the schedule maybe a little harder than what it was in previous years. I know we got to sit back and gear up for every single game. But what is that one game that you cannot wait to play?
Every week I can't wait to play. I ain't gonna say one game. Every week I can't wait to play. I gotta see what my dogs have. Can I let them off the chain, right? Or do I gotta pull them back in? I gotta see. So every week I'm excited to play. It's no game no bigger than any other game. We are the showcase game for Baltimore City, so we open up that Saturday. It's us, Maryville, and Dunbar. We the showcase, and we play against Carver. We at 1 o'clock that Saturday. So we are the showcase game for Baltimore City. And then our homecoming is, I moved our homecoming to the 28th so we can invite everybody in on a Saturday.
Who's the homecoming game?
Ben Franklin is our homecoming game.
Who is?
Ben Franklin.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's good. One of the things that I've seen with the Lakers is, you got a great following as far as the alumni, and I think it's a great idea to have homecoming on a Saturday. I honestly wish everybody played Friday night, Saturday, or Saturday night to get the parents to come out, to get the alumni to come out. So I hope that's something that Baltimore City will kind of look at in doing. Go ahead.
One of my coaches just came in, Coach Stephen Hill. He one of my players in the early 80s. I ain't gonna say what 80, but in the early 80s. And now he was my defensive coordinator, and now he's my head JV coach. Clap it up for Coach Steve. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I changed our homecoming to a Saturday because I want family to come out.
Exactly.
I want mothers, grandmothers, fathers who not usually in their kids' life to actually come on out and see their kids. Because last year it was so odd. I had a young man who been playing for me 3 years. His father only seen him play one time in his whole life. And that's because we played on a Saturday. So it was remarkable that he was out there. He was like a little kid, like, that's my son. Because that was the first time he got a chance to see him, because at 2:30, 3:30, he's still at work.
Gotcha. So again, with the Lakers, man, I'm not gonna give y'all my top 10 until next week. But again, I think Baltimore City, we're on the come up. I think this show is something that we want to highlight some of the teams that nobody really knows about. Everybody knows Lake Clifton is there, but nobody talks about Lake. Nobody talks about the Reginald Losers or the Digital Harbors. So it's time to give all these teams the due respect that they deserve. I'm gonna tell you, I know there's a couple of coaches talking to them. They're scared of Lake Clifton. And it's not something that you guys are not hiding. If anybody, like you said, has been kind of paying attention to, they've seen that you guys are growing up. And it seems like since last week, just doing some of these shows, 2016 seemed like everybody was young in Baltimore City. But the difference is a lot of these teams have lost players, whether it's due to grades, whether it's due to transfers, but there are some teams that actually have stayed together, and you can see 2017, 2018, the outcome, and now these guys are really, really coming together. But September the 6th, Carver. Let's talk about Carver.
Well, let's just say
talk.
Because the landscape in Baltimore, like everybody knows everybody, right? I remember coaching at Poly, and I came to scout you, and you was playing digital, and I had the camera, and you looked and you saw me, and you told me, you said, I don't know why you scouting. Tell Roger ain't nothing changed. We still run the same thing. It's been 20 years later. Right. So, but this new coach at Carver is something different because, the landscape has changed when it comes to new coaches. You got Coach Parham that'll be up in a little bit, and you got the new coach at Carver, Coach Trevor. What is it going to be like playing somebody new and really not being able to get a scout film on them, and what is that going to be like for you?
I mean, every football game is a chess game. If you're not interested in playing chess and counter everybody else's move, you're not ready for this type of game. So it's going to be new. It's going to be exciting. I've never seen him coach before. I don't know his style. So everything going to be like a chess game. The first half, I'm going to let them play his game. Then I'm going to just try to counter it. The second half, I'm going to bring out my game. So just see what he have, and then I'm going to try to take advantage. Because I always tell my kids, there's always one lollipop on the field. You got to find that lollipop, and then that's who you go ahead on and take advantage of. How they doing that Tootsie Roll? One bite, two licks, three licks. Gosh, he's gone. So that's my philosophy. Or when I coach, I look up there and say, okay, I found my lollipop, right? Boom. And then, we got a very explosive offense, so if you don't come up with your defense right, before you know halftime, it'd be 40 points.
So thank you, Coach Monroe, for coming on. Baltimore, I'm telling you right now, don't miss the Lakers show. I think Baltimore City football is going to be great this year. It kicks off September the 6th at Poly High School. The Lakers say they play at 1 o'clock against Carver. It's a triple hitter. So we definitely have to sit back and make it happen. Come out and support. Hope you Lakers watch the show tonight. We'll be back with segment 2. Coach Monroe, good luck with the season. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Said family, that's my son right there.
That's right, absolutely.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, Baltimore. Welcome back. Segment 2 of Changing Baltimore. Again, you have any questions for any of our guests, please, the number is 410-417-7067. If you ever want to come on the show, sponsor the show, please give us a call at that same number, 410-417-7067, or please hit me with an email at harrygray36@hotmail.com. Shout out to our sponsors, Tone Drone LLC, Brainstream Media, and Moe's Seafood on Pulaski Highway. All right, let's get it started. This is segment 2. I'd like to introduce to each and every one of you guys that's looking in, first-year coach from Digital Harbor High School, Coach Herbert Parham. How you doing, Coach?
How you doing?
All right. Coach, I hope you're not nervous. I know you're used to being in front of the mic, but we're going to get it started, man. First year, Digital Harbor. I know you had a couple of college stints at Howard, at Morgan. What's that transition from college to high school?
Well, it's been a great transition. The people at Digital have opened their arms up and welcomed me in. Things have been running smooth, but the biggest thing about it, I'm still working with young men. That's what I've always wanted to do. That's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm a school counselor at the school, and I'm looking forward to getting young men in college and having them have a productive career and being good citizens, really. That's all we've been focusing on. We started our off-season program in February, and we've been lifting weights 4 days a week and trying to get the guys stronger. You know our record and stuff from last year and things of that nature. We tried to put everything in the past. We got blinders on, and our theme for the year is against all odds. And that's how we feel about things, and we're keeping it real tight and keeping it family,
Gotcha. So you got 2 players here with you. Let's from my left, let's introduce yourself.
How y'all doing? My name Dirk. How y'all doing? My name Dirk Murdoch. Starting middle linebacker. Got number 10.
My name Cameron Randall. Play quarterback and linebacker.
All right, don't be shy, guys. Don't be shy. Baltimore City wants to, know who you guys are, because once they come out to see you, man, they want to be able to say, hey, I know this guy right here. So, Coach, tell me how have you gotten these guys to buy into, what you're trying to do and where you're trying to get these guys to?
Well, it's been a lot of cultivating, talking to them about academics, and I'm constantly talking to them about furthering their career in college, because that's what it's all about. Just trying to have better relationships with the young men. These young men work hard. They sort of been under the radar, but they have been doing a good job of working hard. I want to give a lot of credit to Coach Lawrence and Coach Johnson, who's at Dunbar and Edmondson with the Coaches Association. For this year, this was the first time that we had 7-on-7. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we had at least anywhere from 120 to 200 kids that's not on the streets of Baltimore, that was in a confined environment and getting better, and they weren't leaving Baltimore City, going somewhere else, paying someone for a camp. The 7-on-7 stuff was free. We gave the guys a lot of good exposure, a lot of good competition, and I think Coach Lawrence and Coach Johnson did a great job with the leadership on that. August 31st, we're having a crab feast. So we're doing things as a coaches association. We've been trying to find out how to, with the film exchange and making all of those things better. We're trying to cultivate to give our student athletes more and more exposure. Even with this podcast here, this is an outstanding situation, because these kids, any other day, it'll be just the first day. But what we're trying to do at Digital is through technique, fundamentals. It don't change in football. They're going to put 11 people out there. You got to block, you got to tackle, and you got to hustle. You got to run to the football. You got to have fun doing it.
Absolutely. I remember doing the OD camp with you. I think it was 2000.
Wow.
And I remember you doing this defensive line drill where you kind of working your hips. And I've been using that drill offensively for offensive line guys ever since then, and that's been almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've definitely been around, and outside of seeing you coming down 40, because I live in Harford County, so I see you coming to work in the morning. But yeah, great stuff, Coach.
Yeah.
So, to the players, what is the difference? Start to my left. What's the difference between last year and this year? I know, as far as philosophy, but as far as maybe players' attitudes, what's the difference?
Well, last year we had a lot of people who didn't have, they had an I don't care attitude and try to do everything for themselves and not playing football as a team sport and just doing their own thing on the field and stuff. And this year, we got everybody bought into it and stuff, and everybody working together to build a bond so we can work together and win games as a team.
This year, it felt way more intense. Everybody's starting to buy in and believe in what we can do as a team.
Because now I know I saw you guys a couple of times, once at Dunbar with the 7-on-7 and once over at Mervo. And one of the things that stood out to me was the guys seemed to have fun. And I think sometimes as teams, even as coaches, we don't want our kids to have fun. They were still disciplined, but they enjoyed what they were doing at that time. So is that something that you have kind of injected into them?
Well, the biggest thing, a coach of mine, Joe Taylor, Hall of Fame coach, always said, men don't decide their future, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. We are going to bring energy into it. The whole thing is, if we have the opportunity to wake up and face another day, God has given us strength to move forward, then at that juncture, we should be loaded with energy. It is a fun thing. And it goes back to blocking, tackling, hustling, assignment football, and just doing that stuff over and over again. I remember when we started off with the weight program, the guys was like, Coach, we doing the same thing over and over. I know, we're going to just keep doing it because we're in a phase. We were in a build phase. Then we went to a maintenance phase. Then the whole summer we was back to a building phase. And now we back to that maintenance phase to make sure that all of the things that we worked on. So everything is a progression. Everything is about organization and getting the guys on the same page. And we have some wonderful men at Digital Harbor. And the biggest focus, too, for us is not to say, because people say study hall. Well, I'm not a big fan of saying study hall. I'm more of saying, let's find their deficiencies, let's work on the math. Because this kid may be strong in math, this kid may not be as strong, may be strong in algebra, So you got to work on a well-rounded student athlete. And that's what we're looking to do at Digital.
Now, let's go back a little bit to last year. Last year, Digital Harbor was 2-7. But the positive was they ended the season with a 2-game winning streak. So how much of that nucleus from last year do you have back, and has some of that momentum carried over to this year?
Well, we have some good guys on offense. We have, Cam down there, the quarterback. And then also defensively, we got Howard Campbell. He's on offense as well, a big running back I think he's going to make a lot of noise. Danye White on offense, that's going to make a lot of noise in the league. And then on defense, Murdoch over here to my left, and then Antonio Bailey, who's been doing a real good job hustling and flying around, always at the school, always helping out. So we have a nucleus of personnel to work with and work around. So we're looking forward to, we have some linemen that's not bad. Darryl Koenigen, I had to do a little bit more pushing with him, but he's still working to get better. And then we have some young guys who are coming in that I think can help, with the right teaching and things of that nature.
I think one of the things that I've also seen this year has been a lot of transfers and even some kids that's kind of panicking about the 2.0. Are you guys good with the 2.0?
Well, we lost one player, which was unfortunate. And the thing I think that happened with our transfer situation, the young men had started working so hard together, they don't want to leave. They want to stay and finish it, because they know once you get these young men in that routine and they get in that weight room and it's all about that, hey, they're not thinking about transfer. They're thinking about winning. They're thinking about being productive. They're thinking about academics. They're thinking about transcript. They're thinking about graduation, things of that nature. And those are the things that we're constantly pushed. Knowing their numbers. I'm always telling the young men, you gotta know your numbers. You gotta know your SAT, how much you bench, how fast you run the 40, what's your GPA, what's your SAT. If you know those numbers, that's important, because when college coaches come in, that's what they want to know.
Exactly. Coach, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight, man. Who do you open up with?
We open up with Edmondson.
That's going to be another good one.
Yes.
Like I say, I'm glad to see Baltimore City in the schedule and how we're opening up, but I'm also encouraged to see these young men start off the season well. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Keep those grades up. Stay positive, and let's play some great football here this year.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all guys for coming on. We'll be right back with segment 3 of Changing Baltimore.
Thank you, sir.
Coach Corey Johnson.
Coach Lawrence Smith.
Players, your parents to get maximum exposure.
When it comes to any of my video footage, only go to one person.
Brainstream Media.
Shout out to Brainstream Media. Shout out to Brainstream Media for doing my film.
Brainstream Media.
Shout out to Brainstream Media.
My name is Justin Leach. I'm going to Frostburg State University for football. Team Brainstream.
Shout out to Brainstream Media. Best film in the state.
DeWitt Doss, Emerson Westside High School, Athletic Director with Team Brainstream.
Hey, this is head coach Julio, head coach at Forest Park High School. We team Brainstream, man. Thanks a lot, Brainstream.
Shout out to Brainstream Media for giving kids the opportunity to get themselves exposed to college.
Hey, Brainstream Media, man. The best videographer in the area, man. You want sharp, HD quality, good quality, holler at Brainstream Media, baby. They the best. Baltimore City football.
Welcome back, Baltimore. Welcome back to our final segment. This is something that's real touching to, I think, everybody in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about mental health right now. Brought a gentleman here that knows a lot about the field, Mr. Sanande.
Sananda, that's it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Edwards.
Yes, sir.
He has actually wrote a book called The Extraordinary Mr. Nobody. So I want to introduce everybody to Mr. Edwards.
Thank you.
How you doing today, Mr. Edwards?
Doing well. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on the show. Excited to be here. Much appreciated.
All right, let's get into it. We have a lot of things going on in Baltimore right now. How much do you think is really mental health? You know, how much do you think of it as mental health?
Yeah.
That's really going on.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to be very honest with you. I believe that a lot of the things that are going on in Baltimore has to do with mental health. Anytime you talk about depression, anytime you talk about anxiety, anytime, honestly, the biggest thing that I tend to kind of point at with regard to young men in Baltimore, young women in Baltimore, and even grown men, grown women in Baltimore, PTSD, right? Not that we've been a part of wars or anything like that, but the reality of the matter is everyone deals with PTSD.
Okay, so what's that acronym? What is that?
Yeah, my apologies. Yes, sir. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And what I mean by that is, and a lot of times you'll talk to folks, and the first thing they'll tell you is PTSD. No, I don't suffer from PTSD. So I'll ask a gentleman, so have you ever pulled into a parking lot and not just pulled straight in, but instead you back your car in just in case something jumped off, something happened, and they'll tell you, yeah, I did do that. That's PTSD. Have you ever walked into a restaurant, and instead of sitting down anywhere, you make sure you sit with your back so you can make sure you're able to see everything that's going on, right? PTSD. Women, a lot of times they'll walk, they might clutch their keys in their hands just in case they have to jab somebody, right? Just walking to their cars, right? PTSD. So my biggest thing is making sure that we're breaking the stigma around mental health, and folks are understanding that even if you don't, a lot of us are battling mental health, but even if you don't feel you're battling mental health, you know someone who is. And so that's why we all have to break the stigma and do what we can to get to heal from it.
Yeah, so in the especially in the African American community, we tend to ignore a lot of those issues. And I think sometimes they are passed down to our kids. They see mom or they see grandma. They're suffering from depression. They're always angry or they're always sad. But as a kid, you really don't know. You just kind of, something's going on. And then they tend to take it out on their kids, the young kids, which I believe, and stop me if I'm wrong, that transitions to them when they become young adults, because nobody ever told them, hey, this is what's going on.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
Brother Harry, you are 100% correct. Again, when you talk about PTSD, you talk about mental illness, you talk about depression. There are so many families that are going through it. One of the things one of the stats that I throw out there, I know, this being a football program about changing Baltimore and about sports, statistics are important, right? So a child is 2 to 4 times more likely to suffer from depression if their parent suffers from depression, right? So what happens if you're suffering from depression but you're not getting the help that you need? Then again, you're pouring negativity. Even though you're still pouring love into your child, you're also pouring negativity because they don't know how to cope with those types of things. So it's something important, like, to your point. It's important to understand the ramifications of it. It's important to understand just how far-reaching it is, and it's important to understand how impressionable young people are and how parents, they pour that into them, not even intentionally. Sometimes we don't understand that we're going through different things. Another stat I like to throw out there, and for people to understand, again, statistics driven, by the age of 14, if you are diagnosed with a mental illness, half of mental illness cases are diagnosed by the age of 14. And you guys just had 2 amazing football coaches on here, right? So they're young people could potentially be facing depression, mental illness, things of that nature. And it's important for us to be aware of it. It's important for us to put measures in place to make sure we're giving our young people exactly what they need.
So what, speaking of statistics and being data driven, what's the statistics on mental health being undiagnosed?
So that's a heavy question, and it's a great question. So the reality is, let me get the statistic right. 4 out of 5 people are basically undiagnosed. So what that means is 1 in 5 people are dealing with a mental illness, and most of those cases have gone undiagnosed. And like I said, we're dealing with it, and we don't always. Or the reality is, we find ways to cope. You talk about African Americans, we are naturally a resilient people, right? We're taught honestly to oftentimes distrust therapy and things of that nature. So it's gone undiagnosed because we're we're resilient. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to keep this stuff in the closet. We're going to deal with it in the family. But the reality is, sometimes it's members of our family who are dealing with things, and because we're battling it, it's heavy. Just to give an example, my father, a Vietnam veteran, in the Army, Purple Heart recipient, all those amazing things, committed suicide when I was 12 years old, right? So later on, you fast forward that 20 years, I'm diagnosed with depression. He was diagnosed with bipolar manic depressive disorder. I'm diagnosed with depression. So the reality of the matter is, it can be in your DNA, it can be passed down, but the amazing thing about it is we can all heal from it as long as we're putting the right things in place.
And you know, just some personal things for myself. My mom, she was very close to her mom, and when her mom passed away, she became depressed. And of course, me being 18 years old, I was like, okay, hey, mom is not cooking like she used to. You know, Christmas came around, she didn't celebrate Christmas. You know, her birthday came around, she didn't celebrate her birthday. So I was like, something's going on with mom. Mom is kind of depressed. And I think so many years that she actually was sick. She literally got sick.
Physically. Yes.
So when I got married, my ex-wife, she might kill me about this, but my ex-wife, her mom passed. And I saw her go through the same exact things. And I told her, I said, hey, we need to maybe talk about this. We may need to go see somebody about this because you are depressed. And that, you know, she was the baby of the family, and she cried one time.
Wow.
She cried one time, and I was like, let it out, because you're holding it in, let it out. And that was probably about 7 years ago. 7 years ago, wow. And to this day, she still, I don't think, has let it out. But I think a lot of things that she has done since her mom has passed has contributed to her mom passing and that depression.
Absolutely.
I'm going through it a little bit. I think I has dealt with it a little better because I know what it is. You know, when I got divorced, it tore me up. I tell the story that I was 245 pounds on August the 10th, 2010, September the 8th, 2010, I was 195 pounds.
Wow.
So,
Yes, sir.
When they talk about the love songs and things like that, I was sitting home in bed, just listening to love songs and watching TV movies, and it definitely affected me back then. So,
tell us about your Above It All, your center.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, being someone again, kind of like you said, Brother Harry. You know, when you deal with situations in life, what your goal is to make sure that you come out stronger from those situations. And then the second thing generally people want to do, especially again, you guys are really literally changing Baltimore, right? So the second thing that you want to do is you want to not only heal yourself, but you want to heal as many people as you can. So with that, some friends of mine, shout out to Baltimore City College, man, City Forever, my guys from City all day. Yeah, there you go. Right, my best friends from City, man, we kind of got together, we made a plan, and one young lady from Pilot Holly, shout out to Ashley. We got together and we tried to figure out how it was that we could help Baltimore young people, right? So originally you talk about, well, maybe we could put a scholarship together. Maybe we can we can mentor some young people. Maybe we can do something like that. But then we kind of figured, you know what, it's got to be deeper than that. So what we decided to create a program. It is a mental health program offering PRP services. Real quickly, that stands for Psychiatric Rehabilitation Program. What that means in a nutshell, you have a young person that's dealing with depression, stress, grief from loss, things of that nature. If they are in therapy for any of that, what we'll do is we will assign, if that therapist feels it's necessary, we will assign a one-on-one direct care counselor to help that young person work through that mental health, the depression, the grief, help them work through those things. So that's it's a huge part of what we do. We're really excited about it. We're actually located at 638 North Gilmore Street. That's in the 21217 zip code. And I mention that because that's the area where you're talking Pennsylvania Avenue, North Avenue, the Freddie Gray uprising. So you have a lot of people who are dealing with a lot of things, and we're there to make sure that we can do everything that we can to help our young people heal and to strengthen them and their parents as well.
It's that Sandtown area.
Sandtown, you got it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, all day. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Freddie Gray played for me.
Yes, sir.
I coached Freddie Gray.
Yes, sir. Man, how about it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a big deal.
So how can the people reach out to you? How can they reach you?
Absolutely. So look, please again visit us. We're there from 9 to 5 on Mondays through Fridays. Again at 638 North Gilmore Street. Feel free to give us a call 410-462-2268. We're there. Also, you can obviously reach us online www.aiahealth.org. And again, we're just pushing hard. Also, please get in contact with me personally. My name is Sananda Edwards. Again, my IG is Sananda Edwards, TSANONDA, traditional spelling of Edwards. I'm a mental health advocate, again, an author, excited to work with young people and even families and helping them again to get stronger and heal.
So, yep. So your book, because again, I think this is real powerful, people. In order for us to change, we have to change ourselves. And I think the reason why we struggle is we feel that we don't have any issues. So we're never going to change ourselves. It's almost like coaching. You know, if you go out and every week you have the same game plan, but you're losing, you're scratching your head like, why are we losing? Well, we haven't made any adjustments. So we are losing the game of life here in Baltimore right now.
Absolutely.
So we got to come up with another game plan. And we talk about Rex. It's not about Rex. You know, nobody wants to talk about the mental health aspect. We have to touch that. Again, even with my daughters, myself, when they talk about, hey, come on, we're going to go to therapy because I know the divorce affected them.
Yes.
Their answer is no, 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 no. As long as we keep saying no, we're going to keep being in the same rut that we've always been in.
Absolutely.
I know I said this week that I wasn't going to, to preach to hit the negative, but we have to acknowledge where we are as a community.
Yeah.
And right now we are not together. So we definitely have to get there.
Absolutely, and I want to just kind of piggyback some of your thoughts and also some of the thoughts of the coaches. Coach Monroe, he came up here. One of the biggest things he said was the impact that coaches have on students. It's huge, man. Coaches being there as mentors to their young people, being able to pour into their young people is absolutely unbelievable and is necessary. And another thing that Coach Parham said, and I appreciate it, was it's about the habits. You can't, you can't necessarily say exactly how life is going to be in the future, but I guarantee you if you get those good strong habits in place, and those habits mentally is self-care, taking care of yourself. It's about making sure you have the right support system, man. Get around positive people who are going to build you up, build those habits up. Then obviously if you believe, do some prayer, and then as you said, if necessary, get into some therapy if that's what you need so that you can make sure that you're at your absolute best.
Nice.
Mr. Edwards, we're glad to have you on. We are going to have you back on again. Because this is a subject that we have to attack, and we gotta attack it fully.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Change in Baltimore. We're sponsored by Brainstream Media, Tone Drone LLC, and Moe's Seafood. We're wrapping up another episode of Changing Baltimore. I'm your host, Harry Gray.
I'm Coach Sedberg.
And again, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. Please stay in tune. Please stay woke. And we're going to make Baltimore a better facility, a better community for each and every one of us. Thank you so much.
Peace.